always look forward to coming back home.
Yeah.
And especially to see now what you've done here. You know, it makes us feel very proud to see, you know, our heritage part. You know, we were never taught any of those things, Sandra.
Yeah.
So it's good to come back and see all of this.
Now, about the dormitories, what are your memories of being in the dormitory first? Do you know why you were placed in the dormitory, or?
Well, my grandmother, Granny Connie, she was removed from Juringa in 1922 or 23, and my mum was only a baby, and she had a sister called Sissy, but Sissy died. They never spoke about it, but I only know my mother being and my nana being at the dormitory. I was in the dormitory, so it was 3 generations in the dormitory, but I couldn't understand why they were in a dormitory, because they were growing.
Yeah, they never shared any of that with you? Yeah.
No. And because we were so used to having adults in the dormitory, we never questioned it why they were there. And someone just said, oh, well, they haven't got a home. And homes, yeah, you know, like the camp people got homes. Oh, I see, you know, mother, father, children. Then you never said any more, because what we thought was in the dormitory was normal to us. It was normal. So I slept in the wards with the girls. My mother had a room, my nana had a room. Then when Mum had babies, she went to the baby quarters. And then she came back to the dormitory. She was a cook. Yeah, and she was also a cook over at the old men's quarters. But that's how it was, Sandra.
Yeah.
That was her home too. But
and within yourself, what was your feeling? You wondered a lot, I guess, and but didn't ask.
Yeah, because no one answered our questions sometimes. And I think too, we probably were afraid to ask questions. I don't know. Like I said, to us, that was normal.
Yeah.
And I had help about 15, 16 years ago, because I thought I was, well, I suppose you could say, close to a breakdown. And I was fortunate to have counselling, and he wanted to know about my life. And I said I had a normal life. I grew up on an Aboriginal mission up in Queensland, as it was called Cherbourg, not far from Kingaroy. And each week I went back, it was a different story. He didn't know what I was talking about. I told him about the Protection Board Act. I was 14 years old when I got sent out to work, head on to a station, worked for white people. From Quilpie I went to Taroom, and from Taroom to Brisbane.
And that feeling when you left the dormitory at that time, you felt free, or you?
I was sad.
You were sad?
Because I was leaving my family, my sisters behind. And I still remember the day the taxi picked me up to catch the train in Mergen. And I was sad, I cried, because I was leaving, I don't know if it's security or... And I was going out into the wide world. But with the dormitory life, there was discipline. You couldn't answer back. You had to do what you was told. We scrubbed the floors, polished the floors. It sort of prepared us for when we went out to work. You know, we had to make beds, we had to set the table. We were clean, very clean. You know, you could eat off the floors. And I think that helped me in my married life too. Now I'm a bit slack, but you know, I've polished floors. And I was scrubbing the tiles. And my husband said, why are you scrubbing the tiles? Why are you on your hands and feet scrubbing up the tiles? That's what we do. I don't do it anymore.
So how old were you when you said you were born in Aurobindo?
I always wanted to know I was born up in Aurobindo, but Mum would never tell me. She said, oh, you know, I was up there. And I said, okay, so I just let it go. And when we got Mum's files, it said that she assaulted a white nurse here, Cherbourg Hospital. So she was sent up to Aurobindo for 12 months punishment. So that's how come I was born up there. But she would never ever tell me the reason why.
Yeah.
And like I said, Sandra, all we just wanted to know was something about ourselves. But it was just like some big secret. Maybe Mum didn't want to talk about it, I don't know. Maybe she was traumatised, maybe she had something traumatic in her life, I don't know. I don't know if you remember the time Mum got burnt. She got burnt. She was standing beside the stove and she had a thin dress on.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah. And you know, we were talking about emotions and whatnot. You know, I think we used to shut down if anything happened. You shut down because if you got too emotional, you'll start crying, blah, blah, blah. And I couldn't cry for my mother. And she was rushed up to the hospital, she was burned. No one in the dormitory came up to me and said, "It's all right, bub, your mum's going to be all right." I didn't know what to do. So I went behind the toilet and I sat there for a while and Joanne's mum came around. She said, "You all right, bub?" I said, "Yeah, I'm all right, Auntie Vera, I'm okay." I just sat there, but I couldn't cry, but there was a heaviness in my chest. I couldn't cry. So I walked back up the steps and my nana stopped me and she said, "Why can't you cry?" I couldn't cry. And I'm very emotional now, but growing up, it was like, "Don't cry, Gloria, don't cry. Just forget it, shut it out." You know, I often think about my nana being taken away from her people.
So where was Nana?
Nana was removed from Doringa. So her tribe is Gungaloo. And she never spoke about them. And we didn't even know she had family until her nephew came here one year when it was the debutante ball night. And he came down to the dormitory and he stood outside the dormitory. And one of the women said, "Who are you and what do you want? White men not allowed to come here," because he was very white. And he said, "I want to see my auntie." They said, "Who's your auntie?" He said, "Connie White, Connie Williams." So Auntie Maudie said, "Go upstairs and get Granny Connie and Auntie Flo and bring them downstairs." And Auntie Maudie said, "Granny Connie, there's a white man out here." Said that he's your nephew. Well, Nana stood there and cried. She cried broken-hearted. And she said, "Maudie, that is my nephew. Came all the way from Rockhampton." And he had his two sisters with him, Auntie Beryl and Auntie Tina. So Auntie Maudie said, "Go into Mergen and bring them out here. They spend the night in the dormitory with us." And we took them to the debutante ball. Lost contact with them after that. No more contact with Nana's family until just before Mum died. She met up with their cousin Reggie White and he came here to Cherbourg for the funeral. Then he lost contact with us. And he told me when he met me that he rang Cherbourg and someone said, "No, that family don't live here anymore." And I said, "Billy Winky was still there." They said, "No, that Williams family don't live here no more." So no one couldn't find us. It was only because we got our files and we found the family in 1997 and we went up to Rockhampton for a reunion with Nana's people.
So what you're sharing now, you know, it's about like missing pieces, eh?
Yeah,
Pieces
it's
of
like
the
a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
And that's what they said to us in Rockhampton.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know about Nana.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember Nana's brother Kruger came here. He was a tall man, but he was a dead ring of Nana, but very tall, moustache, grey hair. And Mum used to work over at the young men quarters. And she said to me, "Oh, I forgot to tell you that Nana's brother's coming for a holiday." I said, "Who?" She said, "His name Kruger, Kruger White." Then he jumped out of the taxi. And I'm thinking, where did he come from? Because I was only young. And when he went back to Rockhampton, and when I spoke to my cousins, he was a very quiet man like Nana, very reserved, never spoke to no one. He grew up on the stations, was a drover.
So do you know much about Nana's family now?
Oh, yes. Yes, I keep in contact with the family up in Rockhampton.
Oh.
And
So it's a good feeling that you
we
got
cried.
some
We
pieces,
cried because
you know,
it was
brought
family.
together,
At
yeah.
least, you know, it was like, we found our family.
Mm.
I had family here, yes. The dormitory girls will always be my first family.
Mm.
That's my family. But to have blood family.
Yeah. Mm.
And they were Nana's people. And I'm just so sad because Nana wasn't around or Mum wasn't around when we found the family.
Yeah.
So Connie and I used to always talk about it in Aquila.
Mm.
And, you know, Aquila used to say, well, look, we've got to do something.
Mm.
We've got to try and find our family because we're just like lost sheep.
And I guess if you would have heard it first hand from Nana, it would have been more special, eh?
More special to us.
Yeah.
And it was only just by pure luck I heard Nana talk one day.
Mm.
And she said something about my name's Connie White.
Mm.
And I said, how come your name's Connie White? She said, oh, that was my name before I got married. And I think, married? And that's when she told me she was married to a Kanak.
Mm.
And we didn't even know anything about him. His name, nothing. We found out his name was Billy Williams. And where my Uncle Kruger stayed on the station outside of Duringa, those people knew this fella, but they called him Billy Kanak. But we don't know what happened, whether or not he was sent back to the Solomon Islands, we don't know, wherever he came from.
Mm.
And Nana never ever spoke about him.
I think with the system at the time, a lot of things were changed, like names and...
Yeah, but that's the name on the paper, Bill Williams, and they were legally married up at Duringa.
Mm. And
so Nana never ever spoke about much.
mm.
And so I started hearing these words, Duringa, Rockhampton, Whites.
Mm.
And in my mind I'm trying to, where are these people and where are these places? And Mum never said anything either.
Mm.
And I said, oh, where were you born then, Mum? She said, oh, Rockhampton. And that was it.
Mm.
But I just wish they were here today.
Yeah.
And to know that, yes, we did go out and look for our family. I think they would be proud to know that we searched and searched for our family, and now we have our family up in Rocky. And I think they'd be very proud. They'd probably look down and say, well, good on you. I'm glad. You know, and before Aquila passed away, that's what she said. I'm so glad that we found our family, Gloria.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
something you can tell your
It was like
children.
an emptiness here, Sandra.
Yeah.
Like a loss, you know, like a loss, and didn't know who you belonged to.
Mm.
Now I know my tribe, Gungaloo, but because I'm in an elders group down south, I always say Gungaloo Waka Waka.
Mm.
And they say, why you say Waka Waka? I said, well, that's where I grew up.
Mm.
I said, I'm still a Waka Waka woman, but I know my grandmother's tribe now.
Mm.
And I'm proud of that, Sandra. Proud to know where I belong, but this is home and it'll always be home to me.